work okay? Yeah, I think you guys can hear me. So hello everybody. Welcome. Thank you for coming to, I think, our third semi-annual town hall now for summer 2016. If you went up here and don't know who we are or why you're here or what's going on, this is a city chapter of the National Game Development Association, and we've been doing a bunch of stuff to try and make life a little easier, better, a little more connected and interesting for game developers here in New York. So we're going to, the plan of events for today is to sort of chapter business, a recap of what we've done recently, some we've accomplished, where we're at, and then a brief look into our plans for the future and what we're looking at doing next, and also how, how you guys can get involved or things that we need, help with or community involvement with. And then it's kind of a special event today. We'll be talking a little bit about this proposed game development tax credit for New York, which would be a very big thing for this region. It passed the Assembly and Senate, just to be signed by the governor, and trying to support it and get the word out and really raise awareness about what it is, what's out there, how it could help game developers, and what we can do to sort of encourage the governor to sign and get it passed. So we'll be telling you a little bit about that, what it is, what the status is, how you might be affected, and then at the end we'll open it up for just general Q&A on any things we discussed, chapter business, the tax credit. So any questions, please hold them to the end. For anybody watching the live stream, you can also you can participate, put your question in the chat, and we'll include those too. So here tonight, I'm Jess Higgins. I'm co-chair. Chris Algu, fellow co-chair. Adam, our coordinator, couldn't make it tonight. And Athena, who served as our secretary, is stepping down from the board. So it'll be the three of us running for a little while. And also, before we dive into chapter business, I just want to give a big thank you to Adorama for hosting us, and a wonderful live stream, which is very cool, and having this great space, and StoryForward NYC. We've been partnering with on events, and they've been helping us on events here, which is really great. So please, with the occasion, feel free to browse the store, buy a camera, check out the awesome stuff here, but we're really grateful for the space. So you want to get us started?
Yeah. Everyone. So we've had a pretty busy events calendar this year, which is something that we've been pretty happy about. We've run events in a couple different categories. We've had a fair amount of roundtables. Roundtables are events we've had where we focus on a specific topic. Past roundtables have included audio in games, women in games, making it in New York, and so on. And there are opportunities for people to share knowledge with each other, share stories, and to find out what's going on. We've also had a fair amount of socials. We wanted to create a space for game developers who didn't really feel much like drinking that day, or were younger than 21, or any other reason. So we started having socials at ice cream stores, and that's been super good and also delicious. Something we've started fairly recently is the Feedback Forum, which is sort of a video game version of an art critique circle or a writer's workshop. It's a place where developers can bring their game or their audio or whatever they're working on and show a brief snippet of it on the projector, and then open it up for feedback, whether that's general feedback or if they had a particular question, they could request feedback on that. We've had a few of those, and people have found them really valuable, which is exciting. Probably the highest impact event that we've done is the Career Fair, which Jess will go into in further detail. A recent event that we had that I'm pretty excited about is a voice actor animation mixer that we ran in conjunction with Melanie Ehrlich. And that brought together voice actors, animators, and game developers to look at some great voice acting and animation work and make some connections. We've been able to run a lot of the events that we have through partnerships, such as working with Adorama or with StoryForward, who helped us work with them. We've also worked with the NYU Game Center, Playcrafting NYC, Playwell, StoryForward, like I said, Games for Change, Sup Megan, and StoryCode.
So since we formed the chapter, one of our really big focuses has been on career development and basically helping developers find work, helping studios provide work, to sort of do what we can to improve the job prospects of developers here, which is kind of a big concern. So one of our, like Chris mentioned, one of our big initiatives for that was the career fair. Which we've run 2 so far, and we will continue to do that as an annual event. And in addition to being an employer, just from game development, but it's inclusive. It's in digital media, so we include technology and media, publishing, sort of games adjacent jobs. So the higher proportion of like real, true game jobs we can have, like that's what we're definitely going for. So if you have a company, if you hire in New York, if you have even like internships that you offer, like please do get in touch with us. We want to expand our slate of companies and we want to build those connections between the industry and people. It's totally free. It's free both to attend and have a table there. We also have tables for our educators, for schools and programs to present, and also other like services that might be useful for people seeking jobs. So whether that's courses or like site portfolio design, like business cards, like community networking events, all. So we will be all too soon starting planning for next year's fair. So again, please get in touch with us. Other major of our development is the board. Which have been running the forums on the IGDA site, and we also publish listings in our newsletter. That same thing, game adjacent jobs. So you can go on there to look at what's up. Also, make sure you're not signed up for the newsletter, and try to make the most comprehensive listing of what's there. And if you are an employer or if you have interns or even other opportunities, scholarships, anything like that. Again, please send those off there. Let's talk and hook up. Can hopefully help bring to you and make your hiring search a little easier. So yeah, I mentioned the newsletter that we got started off just this past year, and again, we aim to make it sort of a very comprehensive listing of what's going on in New York. This is sort of the, if it were printed, we'd want like every game developer to have a copy of this in their back pocket. It has not just those jobs listings, but community events that are happening. We try and find out, basically what's going on in town and list it. So if you have any news for that, send it our way. News about just games and studios, what's going on in New York. If you release something, if you want an award, if you're looking for playtesters, that's where we list all that stuff. So we've managed to grow it significantly over the past year. More subscribers. If you work in a studio or a company, please forward it around to your colleagues. Let them know if you know somebody who's looking for a job. It's a really great tip. Just sort of help pass it around and spread the word. And the other thing that we very recently launched is the community calendar. So instead of just listing events in the newsletter, we have a shared Google calendar, which is more accessible. You can kind of see at a glance of everything that's going on. Planning events, check it out, make sure nothing else conflicts with the dates you want. And we're looking for people to help edit that. So whether you just sort of collect and want to contribute, or if you want to your own organization events, get in touch, and we'd love to have people just add it and make it a community effort. So yeah, briefly that we want to promote the work of game developers that's being done here. So we launched the NY Makes Games campaign, which is a hashtag on Twitter, and it's also a news section in our newsletter. If you release something, let us know. We want to give you a signal boost and tell the world about it. Again, if you have any news about yeah, we were just nominated for an award or something, this is both to keep the community aware of what people are actually doing here. You might not even know that your neighbor is working on this fantastic thing. And also to let the world know great games are made here in New York, and people don't necessarily think of New York as the place where this cool stuff is made. So if you have ideas for this, would like to contribute, please, as always, let us know. So volunteers, we rely on the great work done by fantastic volunteers. And we need more. So these up here, these are some of the positions that we're looking to fill. If you want to volunteer with the chapter, it's a great way to sort of get in the loop and find out what's going on, and sort of be first person who hears about these great events, or who gets the job listing tidbit. If you're sort of starting out in your career, volunteer with the chapter, it looks great on a resume. So yeah, we're looking particularly for people who can help organize and put on events, who can work with social media, help moderate our groups, and like I mentioned, people who can sort of provide tips and edit the calendar and the newsletter. So as always, see us if you're interested in one of these fine jobs. Chris?
So for the rest of the year and the coming year, we want to going with lots of content and events, more forums, more roundtables, and so we're really working on a roundtable level design and creation, and that should be pretty great. Actually, if you're interested in putting a roundtable panel or on, definitely reach out to us. We'd love to learn more and possibly help you put it on if it seems like something that would work well for our community. We're also looking into sprucing up our website, even looking to different options, which ties into sponsorships, because websites often cost money. So we have a number of different sponsor options that, if you're interested in discussing, can discuss with us later. We also work with IGDA headquarters on the elections process, and are working to find additional details about how all of it works. And if you have any questions or thoughts about that, you can definitely ask us about it afterwards.
All right. So that's basically it for the current state of the chapter. Again, if you had any comments or questions on any of that, we'll have sort of the open forum at the end. But now we wanted to turn toward talking about the Empire State Digital Gaming Media Production Credit, which I kind of wish they could be shorter and punchier. So yeah, this, like we mentioned, this is a proposed bill that has been passed through the Assembly and the Senate, and waiting for the governor's signature. And basically what it would do is provide a 25% credit for property used and big wages and salaries paid from developers in New York. So this is primarily a job creation incentive. So this is meant to stimulate studios going to New York, lowering their costs of doing business and letting hire more people and lower cost, which is New York has a very high cost of doing business here, so something that we're very much behind. And now we're going to turn the mic over to Rachel Presser, who is a game developer and tax professional. She's actually written recently in Gamma Sutra. She had a very nice write-up about what this bill means for indie devs in particular. But we're just going to have her give her a review and take on what it means. So come on up. There's a seat right here.
Yeah. Equipment. Yeah. Hi. Yeah. Thanks for having me here. So basically, when I was examining the bill, I'm an advocate for developers. That was really just looking to see if this would benefit us. Sure, it would. Because one thing that concerns me is that indie developers tend to rely on contingent labor. What the Department of Labor and the IRS call on employer basically means gross at least $1,000 in earnings a year, but you don't have any employees, and there's nothing in the actual bill that seems to state it has to be an employee who qualifies. There's a majority of games that you develop are also going to qualify for the credit. Even news, only a couple exceptions, which is mainly apps such as if you're going into e-commerce, you can't use for the credit. Anything for like a political campaign is also not anything for a purpose. Mainly be which is if you get contracted to like an employee program for a company, where there's this one guy. I'll give him a shout out. Jimmy Frena. He has a really cool tool that he's used to make a custom game for people. Like people use tools like to make merge proposals, other stuff with games. It's awesome. Something that's to be pursued. Unfortunately, it's not qualify for credit. It has to be available to the public. Yeah.
And do you have Steve Miller join us? Did he make it tonight? No. All right. So, yeah, I guess that's about that's all that we had. We can open it up now to any questions, comments. Especially like if you think that this bill would significantly like affect you and your business, like let us know. I should mention the chapter is also in the process of drafting a statement and a letter to the governor in support. Urge him to sign the bill, and in order to really make it like impactful and represent the chapter, we would like to actually hear members' perspectives so that we can include tidbits. So we'll have comments here for today, or if you would like to submit comments later on, let us know. There's also if you check out the latest newsletter, we're going to have a post on it soon. There's also information about how you can write your own letter of support, which is really the main thing. We want to show like the industry sort of inform we are behind and that we want to last. So yeah, I think we'll.
One more comment. Just one more quick comment I just thought of. One thing that really sets a particular apart from what I've seen at the federal and the level is this is actually fundable. Meaning that, sorry, there's no other way to say this. If you are a big-ass indie does not make money, you can recoup some of your costs. This is going to mean, a very big deal of money back to indies who are having a hard time wrapping their development efforts. Trying to pay very high cost living in the New York area, and so, as a tax professional and a game developer, I have to get behind this and throw support there, and I will have to draft that letter. I know what language I'm looking for.
Yeah, open up any questions, comments, Zach?
I guess the first question is when will the credit, if it's take effect?
That's a good question. I think that I think Representative could probably answer that than I could. Don't plan this for next year, I'm gonna say. I don't know those details yet.
What would the credit cover of expenses?
Nature development, so which those pretty anything you pay for design, for art, writing, anything related to making the game. I very breakdown in my Gama Sutras about that, but basically anything of making the game, primarily people, but also any software you're going to buy. So if you buy a copy of Suite, you get here at these fine people you. You need to know a suite, a license, everything you need to actually make the game. Any costs relating to marketing, distribution, advertising, administrative expenses, and running a studio, those qualify for the credit. Still deduct normal business expenses, but they're not going to qualify for the credit.
Yeah, their big point about this is that modeled after film, television industry credits. This is conceived as a below line credit, meaning that the goes to the production workers and people making the thing to the the big stars famous names, which in this case means that anyone who is an owner or like an officer of the business, their earnings are not eligible.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, so small studios where the people making the game are also the owners and the officers. They may not get as much credit. It'll probably more towards the property like software stuff, but so like I said, this is mainly intended to basically big companies move here and hire lots of people. So that's where the credits are going forward.
Questions. One, do you see this, or rather, how much do you think affects the hardware aspect of things? Because that software action costs, paying the workers, but is this credits that can be applied to like the means themselves used to the games?
Yeah, any property used in development will qualify. So if you need to buy a new computer, you're investing in hardware, to encourage that. Hardware's expensive. They want to encourage you to purchase hardware and.
Okay. The second part, kind of back on what Jess was about. Piggyback on what Jess was about it. Encourage it being like more localized. Do we see with the film industry them smacking it in NY kind of on everything after as well, or
you don't have to do that, but basically the people you're hiring to work on the game, whether they be an employee or contingent labor, which is more common in indie development, the law is trying to incentivize to hire employee because game devs are geographically bound, and I once again I have a really good break of this in this Gamasutra piece, but pretty much want you to hire within the city, the metropolitan area. That's going to give you a 25% fundable credit. If you hire within New York State, you also get 10%. That's one distinction I felt was working out. So yeah, they want to encourage have more productions locally. Yeah, there's different. You can always hire behind the iron curtain or go to A just to get something done, but they want to see money being pumped to New Yorkers' pockets.
And just to address the second part, that there is just to give a bit of history, there was a previous proposed bill that was not just for tax credit, but was sort of a bigger development package that included things like funding for game jam and incubators and special zones and all of this stuff that didn't pass. The production budget is sort of the part that made it through. There's nothing about any kind of labeling campaign or anything you mentioned. Although it's something we the chapter are very interested in on the Made in New York model, something to promote that are actually made here, which we're sort of doing as a first the NY made games tag. If the studios and that make games are interested in coming together, sort of voluntarily adopt some kind of or even make it something that sort of guidelines on more stringent requirements, something that we would be interested in facilitating and being the common for. At the very least, we just urge everyone to when your game is done, ready to go out there, or just throw a line in there, at the end, this game is proudly in New York or something. But we would love to sort of organize a more coordinated effort to show that it's made here and just it is.
Just on the topic of the things covered in it, what content that you license for your game, like characters or music or audio, something that you're not specifically like hiring someone to do, but say you're, licensing it from like a repository website or something, would that sort of thing be covered, or do you know?
Yeah, when I reviewed the bill, I think that is covered. As long as originating here and it's part of those files are being integrated. Because, yeah, not every file needs to be made from scratch. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that they're included.
We have a question on the live stream. Asks, how about the credit that pertains to health insurance and benefits for devs?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's much limited just to compensation. If the bill gets signed, it's going to be more elaborate on whether health benefits will be included. I'm going to assume it's probably based on just wages, because that's usually how R&D credit gets calculated at the federal level. Okay.
So, aside from the making games for political campaigns, are there any like topic type of games that aren't covered by the tax credit, and basically, we'll see your game and game change makers and be able to take advantage of it?
Yeah, so long as the game is available to the public, it's not for private purpose. Like, the examples I gave, such as for court training, where it's going to be seen outside of office, for like a very private personal purpose. Because engineering thing with political contributions is allowed and allowed in the federal, therefore the state allow it. Either if you donate to it, it's not deductible, and they just matching principle in this too. You deduct anything you make, like for a campaign or to promote or devote a candidate. But if you're making like that has like political elements, like a Papers, Please, for instance, like or something else, a serious game, that's perfectly fine as long as it meets their requirements.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
Follow up on that. Regarding advertising, would any part of advertising be allowed then to apply to the credit, or would it have to be
No.
individual work develops?
No, it's for development only. I did when I was like through the bill, and marketing, distribution, advertising, administrative expenses, such as tax filing, talking to a lawyer, that kind of stuff. That's perfectly normal, deductible business expenses, but for the purpose of the credit, you get 20% back for it.
I'm not sure if this was mentioned earlier, but gambling is another of the areas excluded by the credit, so no real money gambling games.
Yeah, if it's like a fake poker game, that's fine. If it's gambling, Atlantic City, no. They do it.
I just wanted to clarify on the electing distinction. Typically, the way that works out is if you're not directly supporting a candidate, then it's fine. Issue, engineering, stuff, which is much more games for change, and those organizations do, be totally fine, even if it's a clear like political issue, and even if it's where it's on one party or anything like that.
I might be wrong. I might have read it wrong, but I think the film it doesn't allow for doesn't cover documentaries, and so that's why I was curious about like the serious, kind of content. Anyway, sorry.
Speaking about the documentary thing, is there a type of game that is not covered? I guess like say text games visual novels that are interactive? Does it be a gaming product, or is it covering like visual media in general?
It just covers visual media and like there's no specific genre that can't be used. This should to experiment. They go with a true or try something different. It's really, I said, the subject matter. If it's a gambling app, they're not gonna. If it's for political advocacy or political smearing, not allowed. But virtually everything else, though, seems to be allowed, according to my analysis of the bill.
And tools development?
That,
No tools development?
That's a good question. I was figuring it would come. I'd have to look at the bill more closely, so I don't want to give you, like, definite yes or no on that. I'm pretty sure it has to be a game meant for public purpose. Like, so long as you were using, like, the engine to put a game out using it the same year, I think it would be okay, but if it's just the engine or the tool alone, yeah, that could be the area.
We have a question from the same asks, does it still give people credit on profit after the release of the game or on labor expenses?
So it's just on development expenses.
Also, just to be clear, you're paying somebody who also has an ownership interest in the game. That doesn't either. That stuff can't be funded.
Yeah, if you have an investor, or anyone else like who's got maybe some kind of new share agreement, any like revenue payments and like repayment to your investor, those are not going to qualify for credit.
So yeah, if there's not any questions right now, I was, if you could, without going too deep into, you mentioned the R&D credit also, which I feel like is not that well known. Could you give us like an overview of how it works?
Yeah, so the R&D credit is a full tax credit, a state one, and while it shares a couple characteristics with this particular credit, it's a whole other round, basically. Once I'm going to have to pick up my Gama Sutra writing, I have a Gama Sutra I put out earlier this year about how the R&D credit works, particularly indie developers. Spoiler, we usually do benefit. A couple reasons for this, namely, it is predominantly a based credit. If you're someone as a contractor, you can only take a certain percentage that labor, usually better off deducting it instead. The other with the R&D credit is that it's refundable, meaning that if you don't have a profit, you're from taking it. One, though, if you do very well, later, if you have a couple mediocre releases or just you a long time through the first, then you have a really good year. After that, you can suspend credit for 20 years, so it's something you may want to consider. So I have a whole down to this on Gama Sutra, and I'm gonna aimlessly promote a book all about tax law for devs. It's the first, only one of its kind. I have a very detailed chapter on how this works. But in a nutshell, some games will qualify for the R&D credit, provided that the game meets the requirements, which means it cannot be from what's called funded research. It means that it can't be from a grant program. It can't be from a publisher. Or like someone is like, to make that game, such as like, corporate training wants you to make a training program for the company, or someone wants you to make a game with a personal purpose. You can use those type of productions for the R&D. Also has to be experimenting with something. Interesting with the R&D credit is that long been that sequels and skins don't qualify, but they really can. Provided that you're changing something process, like you're trying a new engine, trying a new development method, like you want to go from from agile and waterfall to like a totally different method. or, you're hiring totally new people to do this. Like, you're experimenting and dealing with kind of uncertainty. And that's, like, something that's pretty interesting. Usually people think that sequels and remakes don't count. The IP itself doesn't have to be new to qualify for the credit. The actual title does. So if it's a remake or another version, it won't qualify. But if it's a brand new type, it will. Sure.
Okay. I'm curious to know, because you said this to not expect this next year. Do you have any insight as to how long the governor signed and what stopped him from signing?
Well, even if he actually did sign this today, that's just how legislation works. It's a very slowly moving land. I mean, think of a snail on Valley for the second subway to be built, while it waits for a paycheck from a century. Yeah, basically. That's just how the process goes, because it has to do like so many different approvals, or things might also change the bill at the legislature, which is why it's important we have these discussions, because our legislators need for this, such as for instance, like as a tax professional and an indie developer, I'm of the opinion that there should be some distinction for small developers, because just saying if you're a CEO, CFO, you deduct your pay. I'm a CFO and I'm still a designer and writer. My partner's a CEO of our studio. He does our programming. He's also a very talented, creative guy. The same can be said about thousands of indie developers in the area. But yeah, changes that can happen, the whole approval process, like that's like our legislators don't just sign immediately. And even if your legislation gets approved, it's just it's going to be like immediately effective most of the time.
Yeah. This is like the second stab at something that's going to actually benefit developers. Obviously, this crash was under broader, I forget the exact type, but the broader like entire state,
initiative.
Yeah. I think digital media though is under the broad, all like any more categories of jobs, not tailored to the game industry at all. Like nobody knew about it. If they did, there were too many restrictions about like number of employees, like locations and all that stuff, and there were like 0 claimed while that was in place. So this is the second step that taken at it with input from industry. Although, and this is good for bigger studios and AAA studios who'd love to see more that come to New York. We can stay active and involved in the process, and make this for indies too, and have something for like kind of developers that are coming here. There was another thing I was going to make a comment about there, but it's escaping my mind just now, so
it'll come. Are there any questions about the tax credit specifically? Okay, well, thanks a lot for walking us all through that. A lot of really useful information, and I highly recommend writings on Gamasutra, sonictoad.com, lots of good stuff about taxes and business and those sort of things. Are there any questions? Oh, yeah, I do that.
Yeah, just a few follow-up things again. Oh, that's what I was going to say about when is going to be signed. To my knowledge, it has not actually been sent to the government yet. So this is sort of a period where we can like spread about it and muster report and like send those letters so that when he gets it, he's aware that there's like industry support behind it and that this is something that we want done. So, I wish I had a specific link, but at least like our site, we'll edit it, throw the link up there with information on where to send those letters. The NYC Center, they made public their letter that they sent. So that's a really good reference. There's a link in the newsletter that we sent out to their statement on the bill and their letter, which is a template if you need some place to and we are working on our own. So again, if you want to send comments, or if you have already a letter that you want to share with us, so we can incorporate, the points of view that you bring to it, please send that to us. And yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. So we've we did it pretty well. There's also, keep an eye out, in September there will be a larger symposium event on this at the NYU Games. I'm not sure if that's been announced yet, but there will representatives from like Senator Golden's office, or Senator Golden himself, who's one of the sponsors of the bill, and they will be able to answer with a bit more a bit more detail some of the questions that were raised here. So really keep an eye out for the announcement about that. Legislators in New York are here, and we are interested in this, sort of a force behind this, and we will do what we can to try and let this info out and keep you in the loop. So any other questions, not just on tax credit, but any of the chapter things we're doing, or anything mentioned earlier? Go back. You can keep your mind back. No. And I guess we pretty much ready to wrap up. So thank you all again so much for coming and for taking part in this discussion, and we hope to continue to be a part of it and continue to help this bill push forward and get it signed. Also help after continue to do and serve the community. So thank you all.